Okay, welcome to the video. This is for students working on author's point of view for source analysis. You should have a paper that looks something like this with some examples. We're going to talk about the examples on the front. You're going to work the examples on the back on your own. And let's look at our last assessment. We did this one on Africa. And to remind you, the main thing is, what is this central idea? What is this picture about? And then what evidence can you use to support that? We're always looking for you to back things up with evidence. And then how does the document fit into the historical context? But we're going to focus today on what is the author's point of view. So the best way I can think of to rephrase it for you is that the author's point of view is, what does the author think about the subject? So for this one, the central idea is that all these countries are practicing imperialism and are greed or want something from Africa. The author's point of view is kind of like his opinion about that situation. So we can tell that the opinion that this author or artist does not like that. He's using all kinds of kind of caricatures for these people. He's making fun of these countries as they attack, or not attack, but they try to grab onto Africa. So he does not approve of imperialism. We can tell that. So that's our author's point of view. The author does not think imperialism is a good thing. You might say the author thinks that probably thinks that they're greedy, that they're trying to grab hold of things, and they're petty. He's drawing them to be very silly. And I just want to point out, people drawn this way in these kind of very stereotype clothing, this Italian guy with the beret and big mustache and stuff, those you'll see in a lot of different cartoons, as we'll see today. Okay, source analysis. We'll work on this through the semester and even somewhat next semester too. So those are the steps. We're going to focus on step D, what is the author's point of view. Here's our first example. Let's say you saw this spray painted on the side of the school when you got to work or to school in the morning. You would know what the author's point of view was right away. The author's point of view is that they do not like school. You know, it's just the opinion about the subject. The subject of school, they don't like it. How do you know? Because they tagged it with a big red X. It's just that simple. All right, now this one. Let's look at this guy here. He's pointing at the person who's looking at the poster, and it says, "Your country needs you." I would say the central idea is something like that people should join the military. All right, it's World War I, probably a recruitment poster. The author agrees with the central idea. Like, his opinion is that people should join the military. How do we know that? Well, it's drawn like very seriously with realism. You got a lot of dark shadows over here. Like, this is not, and I put this next, there's no hint that the author's making fun of nationalism or militarism, you know, because of this hat. We know it has to do with military. I mean, there's no sense that he's making fun of this. It is what it is. It's simply it's simply that you should join the military. Okay, now let's take a look at this one. You have all these different people lined up, and they all have their own flags. And again, when you see people this way, they mean different countries, right? All these different hats and outfits. And so I'd say, and then it says the Allies onward to victory. I'd say the central idea is that the Allies are united and they're going to win, right? Like, that's what the author's kind of saying. They're united together, they're going to win. And again, very much in line with it, the author agrees. The author is for the war. He drew the countries as these strong men. So your author's point of view is kind of like, what did he put as an artist that brings out some sort of emotion? Well, he's trying to show these as really proud countries coming together for victory. He also thinks Britain is the main power. See what he did here with Britain? This is probably, especially since it's written in English, probably a British poster. He drew Britain in the largest and greatest in the center. All right, this is the last one we'll do together. Take a look at this one for a little bit. What would you say the author's point of view is? I'll tell you the central idea is probably something about that nationalism will lead people off a cliff, or nationalism is bad. So think about what the author's point of view is. I put the author is against nationalism. I know this because he shows nationalists leading each other to death by blindly following. So he didn't just show it as dangerous, like he shows them about ready to walk off a cliff. He's against nationalism. And the people following, they look like sheep is what I put. But maybe even better, you could say that he drew them to be identical and marching in a similar way as if they aren't using their brains. They actually kind of look like some sort of weird zombies. Okay, these next ones are kind of hard. But as far as steps, think about the central idea. And first, just think, is it positive or negative, right? And you can usually tell, like some of our previous examples, if it's really dark, it might be negative, or maybe it's just being serious. You know, if they're drawn like stereotypical cartoons, it might be that they're making fun of a certain subject. You know, there's a lot to go for here. So look at this one, it's on your paper. Think about what the author's point of view is. And I'll tell you what I think in just a little bit. I would say that the author's point of view here, the central idea is something like the world was dividing up between the Central and Allied powers. See how they're split here? I would say that the author's opinion of this maybe is that they're being kind of childish, like kids drawing a line in the sand across this little street here. You know, I think there's a little bit of that the author's saying, that they're being childish. He seems to be kind of against this system because he doesn't draw them as very competent, smart-looking people. He's just drawing them as maybe a little bit silly the way they're drawing up sides, and especially since usually sometimes there's a little bit of a voice of the author in political cartoons, and I think this is supposed to be the voice of the author down here, and he's saying Switzerland is saying to USA, it's not our fight. So I think the author's point of view is that the US should stay out of this drawing up of sides. Right? That's the author's point of view. The US should stay out of it. This is too messy. There's too many. It's kind of a silly power contest. All right, I'm not going to give you this one. I'll just give you some hints on how to look at it. I'd say the central idea is just that the Archduke was shot. So first think about, what does the author think about that horrible tragedy? Do they think it's a good thing? Do they think it's a bad thing? You know, so look at how these people are drawn. Would this person be happy that the Archduke was shot or sad? That might give you a good, and then look at some of the colors and different things they use and people's faces, and it'll give you an idea about if this person agrees with the assassination. So work on that, show it to your teacher, and then work on the ones on your other side of your paper. The more practice you get with these, the better. Author's point of view, once you have that central idea, it's really just their opinion about that central idea. Thank you.